ever sing. Worthy of all the praise we could ever bring. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Sing Jesus. Jesus, the name above every other name. Jesus, the only one who could ever save. You're worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Oh, we live for you. And holy, there is no one like you. There is none besides you. Open up my eyes in wonder. Show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. Jesus, the name above every other name. Jesus, the only one who could ever save. You're worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Oh, we live for you, yeah. And holy, there is no one like you. There is none besides you. Open up my eyes in wonder. Show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. Oh, I will build my life on you, God. You're worthy of all praise. And I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation, and I will put my trust in you. Let's sing that one more time. And holy, there is no one like you. There is none besides you. Open up my eyes in wonder. Show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. Jesus, thank you so much for this time that we have today. Lord, I pray that you'd provide fellowship and you'd provide love. I pray that these women would get to know each other in a deeper, more personal way. I thank you so much for who you are, for your goodness and your kindness and your relentless pursuit for us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Hey girls, Bethany here. I'm so glad you chose to join us for Sisterhood Night. Wasn't that just such a powerful time of worship? Well, I am very excited to introduce our guest speaker this evening. Her name is Yen, and she is a part of ShorePoint. You'll probably see her on Sundays serving on the prayer team with her husband, and she is just dynamic. She has a powerful testimony, and I just know you're gonna be so touched. Let's get ready, let's tune in, let's pull out our notebooks, and let's just get ready for all that God has for us.
Hi ladies, my name is Yen Mikoyeski, and my family and I, we have been coming to ShorePoint for about 2 years now. We are so grateful to call this church family home. We're excited about how God is moving in incredible ways. I also have the privilege to be on staff at a wonderful ministry called Souls for Jesus. I know some of you are very familiar with this organization. What we do is we collect new and gently used shoes and we send them to nations in Africa with the greatest need. And I just want to thank all of you who have already donated shoes today. And if you have forgotten your shoes, feel free to find me because we do collect shoes year round. I also just want to thank Bethany and the Sisterhood event team for inviting me to share my story, to share my testimony about God's incredible goodness. I pray that the theme of God's love would be heard through everything that I'm sharing. I pray that you are uplifted, that you are encouraged, and that you would be stirred up to see God move in greater faith for impossible prayers in your life. So I did not grow up in a Christian household. My family, we immigrated here from Laos. My family is Buddhist. We actually came here as a result of the Vietnam War. I was actually born in a Thailand refugee camp. After being in America for a few years, my dad unexpectedly died when he was 39. At the time, I was 11 years old. I'm the oldest of 3 children. That experience really was traumatic for all of us. I was immediately put in a place where I had to take on a lot of responsibility. My mother is illiterate and she does not speak English very well. So I had to just take care of all the household responsibilities and help take care of her as well. So by the time I was 14 years old, I got in with the wrong crowd. I experimented with alcohol and drugs, and I had no idea that that would open up a gateway for many more years of pain and heartache. When I was 17, I attempted suicide for the first time. I was just full-blown depressed, and I just felt like I had no other way out. By this time, I was already hospitalized twice for inpatient. I was seeking therapists and doctors, psychiatrists. I was prescribed medication just to help with the pain. A couple of years later, I had a friend call me and share that she really wanted to go to church, and this was a friend that I partied with. I remember responding to her that church was not for me. I had met a few people who were Christians, and I did not see any kind of authentic transformation in their life. All I knew of God was that I thought he was this creator in the sky, and that he was just watching all of this pain, all of this hurt happen on earth. And I just felt like God couldn't do anything for me. I did not want to go to church with her, but she persisted and she would not relent. So I went to church with her, and I found myself in a tiny Pentecostal church. And it was the first time that I heard the gospel message. I heard about Jesus. I heard about his love, and I could see myself on the cross, that he died for me. I knew something was so different about this message, and I was weeping, and I really wanted to receive that invitation to know Jesus. But at the time, I was just so addicted to my the various things that I was doing. I knew I would not be able to live a clean life. I didn't want to superficially, try and be a Christian and fail at it. But I did see my friend go up there, and she received Jesus as her Savior. And I was so intrigued by that message of Jesus. And in fact, I was starting to read my Bible and that I was given, and we would have Bible studies. And I really wanted to know Jesus personally. I knew that there was something real, but at the same time, the other half of me was struggling with all the addiction. At this time, I was 19 years old, and the second time I attempted suicide, it was a significant moment because I knew that God spared me. I was 19 years old, and this boyfriend that I was dating called me up and said, "You're a terrible person, and I think you should kill yourself." For some reason, I took that as an opportunity that, yeah, I really should. I was struggling. I still didn't know how to know Jesus personally. I still didn't know how to come out of my addiction, and I thought, I'm going to end my life. And I remember looking in the mirror and talking to God and saying, "God, I've heard that if people commit suicide, that they go to hell. But I feel like I'm in hell right now, and I'm willing to take that chance because I don't want to live any longer." And I took a bottle of sleeping pills, and I took every medication pill that I had, and I could feel myself slipping away. And I knew as I was in the process of dying, I didn't want to die alone. I called my therapist at the time, and I shared with him what happened, and he said, "I'm going to give you two choices. I'm going to call 911, or you're going to get someone on the phone that will take you to the hospital." I had a roommate at the time, and she rushed me to the emergency room, and by the time I got there, I was in and out of consciousness. But one of the things I remember experiencing was I felt like this dark cage, coming over me, and I felt like I really believe I was on my way to hell. I was going into this black, empty space, and it was the scariest moment of my life. I woke up the next day, and I remember doctors coming in and out of the room, and one of the doctors saying that she couldn't believe I was still here. She couldn't believe I was still alive because the medication I took should have stopped my heart. I just thought at the time, like, well, I don't know why I'm here either. After I was discharged from the hospital, I had a very profound, significant dream. The dream was I saw myself where I knew I was back into the pit of hell. I could feel this very evil presence around me, and I was hearing these voices, and the voices were saying things like, "God doesn't love you. You're right, God doesn't care about you. You're right, God has abandoned you." And I knew that if I partnered with those voices, if I agreed with those voices, that I was not going to get out of that pit. So the only thing I knew to do was just fight those voices back and say, "No, God does love me, that Jesus is real, and God does have a plan for me." And when that happened, I could sense that something bright above me, and I don't know if it was an angel or if it was Jesus himself, but I was out of that pit. And I feel like that is a message for us today, that we cannot partner with the lies that the enemy tries to throw at us. We have to go against those voices, those lies. God does love us. God does care about us. He does have a plan. And that dream forever, I knew, changed me. So although even for several more months after that, I continued to live pretty much the same way because I didn't know any other way to live. Later that year, I got into a totally new relationship, And shortly thereafter, I found out I was pregnant with my son. And God uses everything, because it was the first time I made a decision that I was going to not only keep this baby, but that I was going to be clean and sober for this baby. And I would do my very best to do that. And it was amazing, because for the first time in 6 years, I had a significant amount of time where I was clean and I could think clearly. It was amazing and scary at the same time. I didn't know if I could continue my sobriety after the baby was born, but I was just gonna take it one step at a time. So God used that, because after my son was born, my boyfriend and I, we really did want to make it work. We moved in together, we got engaged, and I realized that I want to be a different person. And that was my rock bottom moment. That was my moment where I cried out to the Lord and I said, I really want to know you now. I can't do this in my own strength. I can't be a good mom. I can't be anything without you, God. And I'm ready to surrender it all. And the Lord changed me completely from the inside out. He healed me. I no longer had a desire to drink. I no longer had a desire to party, to go out anymore. And it was amazing, because He healed me of my brokenness and my pain. I did not feel that depression. I did not feel that anxiety. I didn't need to see therapists anymore. I was off of medication. And God did even more work. He spoke to me about my relationship. My boyfriend that I was with, he was not ready for Jesus. He was not ready to live for Christ. And God spoke to me that I was in a relationship that was unequally yoked. And so I knew that I needed to leave that. I needed to end that relationship. But at the same time, I found out I was pregnant again. So my son was only 3 months old when I found out I was having my second baby. And I didn't know anywhere else to go but to go back home to my mom, which was a miracle that she even let me come back, because she always said to me, if you ever get pregnant and have a baby outside of marriage, you will never be welcome back into my home. That would be the biggest disgrace. And it was a miracle that my mom let me come back. So I moved back home. I've got a 3-month-old baby. I'm pregnant again, and I find out more devastating news that my baby, I went to get some tests done, 2 ultrasound tests, and she was going to be diagnosed with an incurable birth defect. I was told that I should never expect her to walk, to talk, to move, and I still had 3 weeks left if I wanted to terminate the pregnancy, because I needed to think about her quality of life. I was absolutely devastated. I was a brand new Christian, and I remember asking the Lord, is this what Christianity is? Like, I finally surrendered my life. I was obedient. I left the relationship that I was in, and now I find out I am going to have a baby that was going to be permanently handicapped. I was such a new Christian at the time. I didn't even have a church home. I had one Christian friend, that same friend I shared about that got saved. She was the only Christian friend I had, and I confided in her about what was going on. And she just encouraged me that Jesus healed all those people in the Bible, that God has forgiven me, and that she was going to believe for my healing as well. I thought that was crazy, because I didn't even know one person that was healed of a cold. But I didn't know what else to do. I was just so desperate for the Lord. And so I just believed that somehow, some way, God would come through. And so the specialist said there was nothing that they could do for me other than have me come back every single month to see how bad the birth defect would be. And one thing I can say about my children's father is he was just always so good about being in the kids' lives. And even though we weren't together, he was at every appointment, and he was just always there for them. And so he came with me to every appointment, but he did not believe that the miracle would happen. He thought I was pretty crazy to think that God would do a miracle. But we went back another month later, and to the surprise of the doctors, there was nothing wrong. They said they didn't know what happened. They kept looking at the test from the month before and the current test, and they just could not figure out how I now have a perfectly healthy girl. So this is a story of God's faithfulness and his deep, unrelenting love. And one of my favorite verses is from Ephesians in chapter 3, 17 to 20. It says, "And I pray that you, being rooted and established in love, may have power together with all the Lord's holy people to grasp how wide and how long, how high and deep is the love of Christ, and to know this love that surpasses knowledge, that you may be filled to the measure, to all fullness of God. Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we can ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us." And God has indeed done so much more than I could possibly ask or think. And 2 years after we were separated, that same boyfriend who was not ready to receive Christ, he did come to know Jesus, and we started dating again, and we got married 6 months later. And this year we will be celebrating 18 years. And so I just look at the hand of God, how he healed me, how he set me free from the addiction, from depression, from suicide. He healed my daughter, he healed my family, and I just want to encourage everyone out there just listening today, just to know that it's his love. It's all because of what he did. And I know that if he did that for me, for someone who was not even looking for him, that he can do it for you. And I just encourage you just to trust him, that he loves you and he has a great plan for you as well.